All right, guys. Our next guest is a living legend, former WEC champion, UFC Hall of Famer, the man behind Team Alpha Male, who, by the way, had a great night last night with Raulian Paiva and Maycee Barber, both picking up wins at UFC Vegas 32 just last night. The one and only, the California kid, or the California dad, we should say now, Urijah Faber. Welcome back to Submission Radio. How are you, man?
Doing good, man. Don't forget about Darren Elkins.
Of course, the damage.
Went beast mode. Got another one. So that was 3 guys in a row.
Mm-hmm.
We loved it, man. It was, look, all 3 of those fights were won on tenacity, and I love to see that. So it was a good fight for sure.
Dude, I was gonna say, and I don't feel like it's being brought up enough. Team Alpha Male, still as big as they were back in the day. You guys still have so many great fighters coming out of that gym. Do you feel like people sometimes forget some of this great talent that comes out? I mean, an incredible night for the gym, and also a lot of future talent here as well. Guys and girls that are gonna go on to have huge careers in UFC.
Yeah, I don't know what people are thinking. You know, I'm pretty in my own little bubble at this point. So, you know, we're just continuing to grind, you know, at the gym, and all my boys waking up here. Hold on a second.
All good.
I gotta pat him on the back.
No worries.
Hey, buddy. Come on. It's okay, buddy. Try to put him to sleep here. So there we go.
This is awesome, man.
So yeah, we had a great night. I think, you know, we're coming off another couple of big wins. We got a lot of UK talent, Corey McKenna and Mason Jones, and then Andre Feely had a good performance the other day. And you know, we're waiting on Josh Emmett to get out of the injury zone and get back in the world rankings and make a run for that title. And you know, we had 2 guys in the Ultimate Fighter, and one of our guys is in the finals. So yeah, we've been steady plugging away, man, per usual.
Take us into your thoughts yesterday, man, on Maycee Barber's win over Maverick, and obviously how important this win for her and the team, with the last 2 not really working out. I imagine a lot of pressure for her. How did you sort of manage that as a coach?
Well, this is her first time at our camp for you know, for any kind of fight. She'd been out years ago just to test it out for a week, and I wasn't here. Ended up leaving, and has been to a lot of different gyms. So I was really surprised when she came in how amazing her work ethic is and how fast she learns, and it's kind of a testament to why she's had so much success. But on the other side of things, she needed to find a home, and I feel like the way she's talking, the way she felt, I think this may be a home for her, a permanent home for the long haul, and that's good. So, you know, it was a very close fight. We knew it was going to be a tough fight. You know, you get a little bit worried in those kind of scenarios, and then, you know, that girl she fought, that's another, you know, they're neck and neck in the world rankings, and they're neck and neck in youth and technique. They're a really good match. So getting that W was pretty big.
Yeah, 100%. I want to ask you, obviously, on the scoring of the fight, because people online sort of saw it both ways. Just before I do, if that is the remote near you, right, is there any chance we could be a pain in the ass and get the music turned down just a tiny bit, just because otherwise YouTube will copyright this, potentially?
No problem. And we're back.
Nice.
Okay. This is Mr. Chill.
So good, man. I'm waiting to have a kid myself in January, and if he's that good, I'll be pretty lucky.
Oh yeah, he sets the bar pretty high. But
I'll be calling you at 5 a.m, like, Uriah, where did I go wrong, bro?
That's awesome. Okay, where were we at?
Just like, how did you score the fight? Were you nervous when the judges were reading out the decision at all?
Definitely nervous. I mean, it just depends what the judges are looking at. Like in the first round, especially, that was kind of the one that was going to be the deciding factor when it came to the decision. And you know, watching the fight again, I see why we won, but you don't know during the because she wasn't doing what I wanted her to do in the first round, and we had talked about it. And they panned to me coaching, and I said, you have to actually try to hit her.
Yeah.
Because if you watch her fight against Grasso, Maycee was throwing like 3 and 4 punch combos from like 2 feet out, knowing she wasn't going to hit her. And so part of the plan here was to be right in her face, make her miss small, and make her pay big with speed. And she was too far out. The good thing is that girl didn't do any damage to her at all in the first round, and Maycee landed the bigger shots. On the judges' side, though, Maycee was moving around and moving backwards a lot more than the other girl, so that had me worried. But as far as landing punches, she landed more. The other girl was tracking her more, so you never know how they're going to judge that.
It was really cool seeing you guys do your thing and you in the corner there and Maycee pick up the win. I want to get your thoughts on the main event as well, Uriah. Obviously, TJ Dillashaw had a war with Corey Sandhagen. What a great fight that was, but very, very close. I mean, a bunch of polls being run all over the internet, people very split on who won that one. But before we get your thoughts on who you thought won, what did you actually think of the crazy fight that took place?
I thought it was an awesome fight, first off. I mean, I know TJ as well as anyone, and that guy's in there till death does he part in the ring, which I think is a good way to be when you're all in on something. But yeah, it was super exciting. I was actually ringside. I came back out and watched. I didn't want to miss that one, and I thought it was an awesome fight. I mean, from where I was standing, I mean, there's a couple different ways. I thought Sandhagen would have got the nod based on him doing damage and landing the bigger punches, and a lot more, I would say. Did you guys look at the punch stats? Who landed more?
Yeah, I think in the last round, the 5th round, which I think went to TJ, I think Sandhagen outstruck him. It was pretty close in a lot of the rounds. In the last round, yeah. I think Sandhagen got him.
But, I mean, what about on the total fight?
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head.
Gotcha. Well, so the one thing that TJ had going for him was he was definitely in Sandhagen's face, which he has to be, trying to close the gap on a long, lanky guy like that, and pushing the fight pace. And then he had a lot of attempts and control time in the in-betweens of grappling or trying to grapple. I mean, he didn't do much damage in those situations other than the first round, but he was initiating. And so it depends if you're looking at it and being like, hey, Sandhagen thwarted all his takedown attempts and did well in the clinch, etc. But TJ was at least putting the effort to get into those positions and spending a lot of time in there. So, I think that's probably why he got the nod, because of the intent and the aggression and the forward motion, But Sandhagen definitely landed the more damaging shots, and I probably would say was landing more punches, but I haven't looked at the punch stats. So
Yeah, well, looking at the punch stats here, it says here that Sandhagen landed 128 of 281 significant strikes, while TJ landed 110 of 268. But I do think also a part of it is what you said, Uriah, the fact that Sandhagen's strikes were a bit more memorable because they caused that much more damage. I'm wondering, though, man, what did you think of the TJ that we saw in there? A lot of people sort of skeptical about what he's going to look like after all the controversies. What did he look like to you in there?
He looked like the same guy. I mean, look, I mean, without in the aftermath of having the guy on the team and then leaving the team and me always being dark on everything, I know a lot more stuff than most people do about the whole situation. But the one thing I can say is the reason he's cheating is because he's a competitor, like not fair competitor. He's a cheap shot guy. He's a, whatever it is, but the guy's whole intent and focus is to win. And, if someone's a cheater because they don't believe in themselves, that's one thing. But if somebody does an actual assessment of what they need to gain, whether it be conditioning or strength or whatnot, and then cheat because of that, there's a big difference. One's a mental weakness, and the other one is being crafty cheat, to gain financial and fame and whatever else, and he was able to do that. And I mean, the layoff, I think he used the time well and came back with the same guy he always has, as an older guy who's put on some size and whatever else he's been doing throughout the years. He's a bigger guy than he was when he started in the sport, and I think that plays to his favor. And he's always a competitor. I mean, that's a legit, champion mentality guy when it comes to competing.
I think that's a good assessment. It's interesting to hear you break down the difference. Like, people just look at cheating and that's it. But the way you break it down, that, there's the mental side of it, of not being confident, and then there's the simply factor of like, look, I need to do this to get an edge.
I'm too weak. I mean, when you're in a room with a bunch of guys with a lot of natural gifts and you can pinpoint where you lack, I think he was like, you know what, I don't have a chance unless, and it wasn't because like he didn't think he can. He's like, I think I can if I never get tired, or if I can put on 10 pounds of muscle, or whatever the deal. And I think Dom kind of put it in one of his breakdowns of the situation is, he took a calculated risk, and unfortunately the benefit and the cost of being shady, rich and famous, but all I have to do is take 2 years off, in a 12-year career. Like, he did a calculated risk, and there's no shame in his game.
Yeah, dude, that's a tough one, man. 2 years off in the bantamweight division. It's not really, it's not a division where age is really on anybody's side. But you mentioned how sort of you know a lot more about that stuff. What do you mean by that?
Oh, I mean, TJ is pretty close with a lot of guys in the team, and I've just heard in that, years after he'd been gone, like what had been going down and whatnot. And I was never privy to anything, but I mean, all I can say is that he got caught for EPO or whatever it was. So, that's all there's proof of, and I'll just leave it at
that. Okay, well, and I was going to ask this very bluntly. I guess the big question surrounding TJ with everybody is, was it just once and he got caught, or was he doing it for a while? I was going to ask you what you think about that.
It's not important what I think about it.
Yeah.
He knows. His family knows. Everybody knows what he was doing. And, it's not my business to put anything out there. Other people have gone out and said stuff about whether he was or wasn't. And I know that he came to my team as a lifetime athlete that had wrestled since he was a little kid and wrestled in college and worked out really, really hard and couldn't bust 143 pounds, and he was complaining about it.
I guess the interesting thing about it all is we saw him come back and he looked good against Corey Sandhagen. And Corey is such a tough competitor. I wonder, looking back on it all, like he struggled to put on the muscle, but ultimately, do you believe that without the substances, ultimately he probably still could have gotten to the same position that he got to and sort of could have avoided all this controversy if he would have just sort of avoided that? Or do you believe it was a key thing early on in his career to gain that size and to get to that position?
I've never done any of that stuff, so I don't really know what the big difference is. But from what I understand, there's big advantages. Now, I'm a guy that believes anything's possible, and I preach that to my guys, and I preached that to him while he was on our team. I believed he could have been a world champ from the get-go, and I told him that. And, I told Cody that. I told Song Yadong that. And so could he have done it? Yeah, everybody. I mean, there's people all over the world that become the best in the world without cheating. And now, are the odds stacked in your favor if you're being unfair and fill in the blanks of your natural gifts that you do not have? Obviously, that stacks things in your favor. But at the end of the day, the mind is the most empowering and most important thing in a sport, especially a combat sport. And my fighters that fought this last weekend, Raulian, Maycee, and Darren Elkins, we're a testament to that. You know, like the mentality side is the big thing, and TJ's always had that.
By the way, what was it like yesterday? I was looking at the UFC Apex, and you got yourself, you got Urijah Faber, you got TJ Dillashaw, and you got Dominick Cruz all in the same room. I feel like you got some of the greatest rivalries in bantamweight history. What was it like for you being around, two of your biggest rivals?
You know what, TJ, I saw TJ at the pool, like just kind of avoid each other. We have a lot of mutual friends, like some of people that are in his circle on a day-to-day basis are great friends of mine, and I don't necessarily have any qualms with the guy. I mean, I've got great friends in this world, and so I don't need to like try to rehash ones that were whatever were rocky. So we just kind of keep to ourselves, TJ and I, and I feel like Dom and I are longtime frenemies. I've got his phone number, and we talk on occasion, or kind of crush the beef. I respect him a lot, and I feel like it's the same for me. And it wasn't always the case like that. So I enjoy seeing. I mean, it's always good going to those events, and it's a little bit of everybody. I mean, you get to see basically 20 years of people that were impactful in your life, and I like that.
Yeah, it's like, I remember you telling us that you and Dom were texting, and this was like years ago when you guys still had fights coming up, and you guys were doing tough, and everyone thought, oh man, these guys can't stand each other. And then you're like, yeah, we text every now and then, which is just kind of...
They weren't friendly texts.
Oh, really?
So, I mean, no, there's no like, I mean, they weren't like friendly texts. A lot of talking crap and that kind of stuff. And, but yeah, you know what? I think I told you guys what happened. And, there was like a changing of the guards at PR at the UFC, because they're always like hiring and rehiring. And whoever put the thing together right before we were supposed to fight the second time, they put us on this USO tour in San Diego with the Marines. And we went through this like American, it was me and I think it was Rich Franklin, Dominick Cruz, and Phil Davis. And like we got like on the side of America. Like we started out like taking some pictures and shooting some guns, and next thing you know, we were going through this gauntlet, and we had to work together as a team. And it was like a little too late to be like, hey, I'm not doing this. We committed to it, and at this point, we've been like in front of some soldiers talking about people that had died, and then like they put us through a gauntlet. Like drill sergeants were punking us and everything, and we actually had to work as a team on that thing. And so during that time, and he was a lot younger and wet behind the ears. I feel like he was picking my brain, and we had like 2 days of squashing the beef awkwardly, and so that's where the communication started. But in the same circle for a long time. That was such a weird gig. There's some footage of us like running through and like going through a simulated war as same team soldiers, and that changes the thing, when we're fighting for money and clout, and we're there to spend time with people that are putting their lives on the line for the greater good of our country, and so you're kind of forced to not be petty.
Yeah, 100%. Puts things in perspective. I remember we had Bisping on the show, and we asked him about like people who he sees differently now that he's retired. And he actually said Rockhold, and he said, I'd have a beer with Rockhold. And firsthand, because you were there at 199, how deep that rivalry was. And I wonder like if it's somewhat similar with you and TJ now, because obviously, the feud is pretty strong, but it's been years now since all of that kind of happened.
When the whole thing went down originally, I told TJ, hey, man, leave the team and we can work on our friendship and relationship otherwise if you're leaving the team. And it just went sour quick. And so I'm still open to whatever. I've got people that I've been on bad terms with that we've squashed the beef or whatever the scenario. But at the end of the day, like, who do you want to spend your time with? And I've got a great circle of people, family, friends, and teammates and whatnot. And I think he does too. I mean, he's got, I know his family. His family, I actually like his family a lot. I gave his dad his nickname, Hazardous Hal.
Oh.
Nickname, by the way, Hazardous Hal. That's awesome.
That guy's a savage.
He sounds like he's from old school or something, like he's friends with Frank the Tank or something.
Hazardous Hal will like jump off the highest stuff in the water and break his arms, and he does all sorts of crazy crap. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, who knows what'll happen? I mean, right now, he's focusing on him, and obviously, I'm focused on important stuff between business, family, and my real passion in life right now, which is these little guys, Callie and Rome, and hopefully more at some point, if I can get my girl to give me the thumbs up.
Yeah, that's it. The old thumbs up, clear for landing. And if you are like Urijah Faber, maybe trying to make some, extra kids, or maybe you just want to practice, what better way to prepare for something like that and shave your junk downstairs with the Manscaped Lawnmower 4.0. It's not the 3.0, it's not the 3.2, it's the 4.0, the brand new tool from Manscaped, the even better grooming tool that you can use to shave anywhere. You can shave your balls, you can shave your arms, you can shave your back. This new guy, I mean, what a marvel of technology. The new multifunction on-off switch. It can engage a travel lock, creative for people who like to travel. You don't want the lawnmower going off in your bag when you're in the middle of airport security and people thinking, check out the dude with a vibrator in his bag. Now you got the travel lock. It can save you. It also gives you the ability to turn off the 4000K LED light. So you can turn that off if you like. Maybe you don't need to, I don't know, maybe you're not shaving in a cave and you can turn it off. You can do without it. Save some battery. So now you have that option. You've also got multiple guards as well, so you can shave your junk, shave the old bonsai tree to any length that you like. You can have different kinds of lengths, texturing, pattern. I hear it's all the rage these days. So you've got that with Manscaped 4.0, and looks-wise, it's nice and sleek. You've got the matte, you've got the gloss on top. Who wouldn't want one of these bad boys? And who wouldn't want to save money? Save 20% off when you use the code SUBMISSION, and that extends to everything on the Manscaped website from your good friends at Submission Rotor. Don't forget to use that code. Isn't that right, Dennis?
That's right, Cass. It's 4.0 on the website, but it's number one in your hearts. Get your stuff sorted with Manscaped now and get that free shipping as well with that promo code SUBMISSION. And guys, you know what it is right now as well, don't you? It's the Olympic Games. And outside of the fighting, I know you're out there watching your country, trying to win a gold medal. A lot of heartbreak going on, a lot of tears. I don't want to mention anyone, but her name rhymes with Farty, and she might play a tennis-type game, and maybe she let a lot of people down. Anyway, don't just cry at home over spilt milk. Make some money off it as well, because that kind of makes it a little bit easier. And there's only one place to make money of all your sports, and that is MyBookie. If you guys sign up today, you can take advantage of up to a $1,000 bonus on your first deposit. That's promo code SUBMISSION. Get yourself a free cash bonus, and then maybe if Australia loses to Egypt in the soccer, you won't end up crying in the shower all night. You'll end up making some money. That is promo code SUBMISSION. Get yourself that free cash bonus. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. But yeah, you're right. I was going to say, obviously, a lot of
fans wondering if there's a chance that you might get back in there and fight again. I know that you mentioned that you want to fight that kind of matters, something that really kind of gets you excited, and you never really ruled out that you wouldn't return. Where you at with that right now? Is that still something that's on your mind? I mean, I know you're 42, but you look pretty much the same as your WEC days. So I don't believe that you actually aged. So break it down for us, man. Where you at mentally with the return?
Had it not been for this guy and the quarantine, the COVID quarantine, I probably would have fought already. But I do it for the entire experience. I would probably not have done a fight if there was no crowd, just because, I want the whole experience. And now that the crowd's back, and there was also talk. Sean Shelby was asking, "Hey, when am I going to fight TJ?" And he said, "Oh, sounds like his camp isn't interested in that fight." And I'm like, "Okay." And then I talked to Tiki, who's manages TJ, and he told me kind of behind the scenes that they'd offered them something, but then kind of said they couldn't do that, blah, blah, blah. So
what do you mean? Like they offered the UFC, like, hey, let's fight Urijah?
Yeah.
Hmm.
And And so it's one of those things where I wouldn't rule it out, but I gotta get going, and I would need to take it real serious because of like the world climate and my personal family climate. I haven't been able to be a full-on athlete, and if I were to take a fight in any way, shape, or form, which I haven't ruled out because it still sounds like a lot of fun, and that's why I do things, and it'd be a good financial thing. It'd be a good thing for me to make myself get in tip-top shape. It would be a passion of mine that I would enjoy. So I wouldn't rule it out, but I don't have any immediate plans. But I do get in there. I'm in the gym every day. Most of my intense workouts are jiu-jitsu, and I'll jump into practice. I actually just dislocated my pinky.
Oh wow, dude!
And jumping into pro practice, scrambling around with the guys. But yeah, I'm in tip-top shape. My skill set's getting better because I'm teaching and I'm around the environment all the time. So I get in there and beat someone up. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's interesting because, like you mentioned, you're there yesterday. You're amongst all the fighters. You see TJ fight live. You see your team win, and I have to wonder, man. Would you say that TJ might be one of the only guys that gets you excited enough to sort of come back and make that return? Because if you think about it, and I know you mentioned it in the press conference after your last fight, that is the fight where, that's a big main event or a big co-headliner and a big pay-per-view. It's a fight that fans have wanted to see for a really, really long time. And from a matchmaking perspective, a very fascinating matchup where it's very interesting to see how that one plays out.
Yeah, he wouldn't be wrestling me like he was wrestling Sandhagen.
Yeah, exactly. So would you say, is he number one on the list, or maybe one of the only names on the list that could actually get you back in there and back you out onto that octagon?
Not necessarily like that. I mean, I always kind of avoided the idea of fighting him because I just didn't like the dramatic part of it. It'd be like, we already have enough friggin' drama in our lives, and then you have to rehash this and drama that. That becomes a whole dramatic thing. Now, would it be an intriguing matchup and would be a great storyline? Absolutely. I would only do that if it was a payday that also excited me. And I make pretty good money, and so I would do, fights against guys in the top 15, as long as there's a crowd there and it's an exciting event for me. At this point, I'm also a businessman. I'm a coach. I'm a parent. But a financial raise, raising money to make more money is something that happens in the business world. And I could go have, a birthday present to myself, take a fight and get paid for it. That's kind of why I came out of retirement. I came out of retirement as a 40th birthday present to myself, and a financial raise, which I had a plan for the money, went right into it and basically tripled that money and then some, actually. And so it'd be more of a business and fun mix of business and pleasure. And the only reason why.
Oh,
you got there?
Yeah, you cut out for a second. You said the only reason why. Master of suspense.
The only reason why I would do a fight with TJ in particular would be because they would probably pay me more for that one. If they don't, then I wouldn't do it. And he's probably the same way. He doesn't want to fight me. He's been working hard to regain his, try to keep his nose clean and tell his side of the story or whatever the deal is, of his cheating scenarios. And he doesn't need, the grave digger bringing up the fucking bones of the last 10 years of him being a creep, in a POS. So I don't think it's enticing to him on that front. And for me, I would do it because there'd be a bounty on his head and probably vice versa.
So why do you think they wanted to fight you? Do you think it was just the money aspect? Because TJ's kind of going for that belt, and to fight you would be a bit of a detour on that path.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, had he not got the nod this last weekend, it maybe would have made more sense. You know what I mean? Or if he gets knocked down by Peter Yan or something like that, it doesn't make sense because he's coming off of this win. But from what I understand, after talking to originally Sean Shelby, and then who said, yeah, it doesn't sound like their team is interested in that fight. And then actually talking to Tiki, who told me the real backside of what had happened. There's two different scenarios there. So I'm not like looking for that fight per se, but that one would, I'd be Rocky 5, dude. I'd be out in the barn, kicking hay and stuff. So, there's definitely some fire lit when there's real history. But I would do fights against guys like I love all these new guys. My guys are fighting like the Kyler Phillips and Song Yadong's about to fight the other guy that just fought Dominick Cruz. What's his name? Who just fought Dominick Cruz?
His name escapes me. I know who you're talking about though.
Yeah, like those guys. I love those kind of fights. What's his name was talking. Hi, baby girl, come here. It's okay. Come on, baby. Come here. She's not here right now. Come here to daddy. Come here. Come on. Come here, baby doll. She's not here. Come here and lay by daddy. Come here. She's going to come right back, okay? Okay. Come here. Give me a hug. This is the good life.
The Faber family reunion. Dude, this is awesome. I remember we used to ask you, well, like, when is the California kid going to be a California dad? Look at this. We'll let you go in a second, Urijah, because you're on daddy duty.
Yeah, I was just gonna quickly say, Urijah, I know you mentioned that if you and TJ fought, there wouldn't be much wrestling in it. Break it down for us. How do you see that sort of fight playing out if you guys did fight? Because it's interesting because you guys know each other so well, right? So it's one of those situations where you go in there with the guy you know so well. It's a different kind of fight.
Well, I didn't say there wouldn't be wrestling. There's a lot of wrestling. It wouldn't be a one-sided affair, and I don't think that TJ's game plan. I mean, TJ's a smart guy. People were asking me who I thought was going to win that fight, and I said TJ's going to try to wrestle him the whole time. That's what I said, and in not that he tried to wrestle him only. Obviously, he fought him a mixed martial arts fight, but that was what the difference was. I just don't think that would be his game plan. His game plan with me would probably be maybe some strategic takedowns, but he'd be trying to knock me out.
Well, you're right. I'll tell you what, man. Between having a successful team, all the businesses, the fact that you're a UFC legend, an MMA legend, a former champion, and now look at this, maybe the most important thing of them all, a championship-level father. I'm waiting for the Faber Bunch TV show to drop sometime soon. And I actually do believe, man, that we might need to get you some kind of parenting show on TV as well, because I think a lot of people could take some tips from you. This is very, very impressive. Guys, make sure to follow Urijah on Instagram and Twitter at Urijah Faber. Just quickly, Urijah, I know you've got a lot of great businesses. For all the Faber fans out there, what are a couple of things you want them to keep an eye open for that are around the corner or happening sometime soon?
You guys are going to see an awesome platform app that is about training. It's a MMA University, and I'm working on that. I've got, after my beautiful daughter here, Cali Acai, I've got partners out in Brazil that own the manufacturing companies and own the islands that grow the acai. That's going to be very quickly making its way to retail and B2B or direct to consumer on the internet, where you can order the acai, and it's the best acai in the world. And aside from that, man, I've just really been enjoying the gym, the team, and I've got a little production company. We sold our first movie to Lionsgate, and we've got a bunch of things on the docket for scripted and unscripted projects coming up, and we've been pitching and whatnot. So just keep your eyes peeled, always working on something.
I love it, man. You'll be the Pablo Escobar of acai. We look forward to it. Thanks so much for the time. Thanks so much for the chat, Urijah. Have a great day, man.
All right. Take it easy, boys.